Hi, I'm Todd Mitchell, owner of Cybersecurity4biz, and I want to talk to you today about the value of data. A couple of things have changed over the years, and now data is the new currency. If you don't believe this, take a look at Facebook, Google, Amazon. All these companies have become huge by selling and trading your data. They offer a free service so that you give them your contact information and your personal information, and then they use that to sell to advertisers. One of the things that you can do to protect yourself is to limit the exposure of your data. Now, sometimes it's a case of, you want to do this so bad that you're going to let them have your data, but you don't always have to be doing that. Sometimes you don't want them to have your data. And if you're a business owner, you definitely don't want them to have your financial statements, and you don't want them to have your client's information that you work so hard to obtain. And you need to secure that because the integrity of your business is on the line. Sometimes as clients, we go to a business and we give them information, and we are assuming that they are a trusted source and they're going to protect that data. I'm not going to order cupcakes from your stay-at-home cupcake delivery company that's a small business and expect that you're going to sell my contact information to another company. I'm expecting that you're going to protect that data. So let's talk about how that happens. Right now on the dark web, there are email addresses being traded around for lists of emails from clients for hundreds of dollars. There's medical files being traded for thousands of dollars. There's social security numbers, birthdays, and other things that can be used for identity theft being traded for $20 or $30. The big information right now is buying and selling this data on the dark web. It also happens on the open market more commonly through marketing agencies, through advertising agencies. Everybody is trying to get a hold of an email list so that they can promote their client's business, other small businesses, and do email campaigns. But you need to secure your data unless you have your customer's permission to sell it to somebody else. Now, you may not think your data is valuable, but I want you to take a look at what you have and classify it into 3 or 4 categories. Take a category for, if this gets out, my business is going to be in serious harm, which could be, grandma's secret recipe for the cupcakes. This could be some blueprints for some new whiz-bang you just built that is totally state-of-the-art and needs to be patented. This could be information that is just so critical to your business, trade secrets, things like that, that you just don't want to get out. That information is going to be in a what I call confidential folder that you need to keep confidential. Then there's other information that is going to be protected, like HIPAA compliance, payment card information, personal identifiable information, birthdays, social security numbers, driver's license numbers. This information is what we call regulated, which is also confidential. But the difference with this confidential and the trade secrets types of confidential is that this is regulated, and there are rules and regulations from the federal government and from other agencies that dictate how you have to store it, transmit it, and collect this data. Then the next pile is going to basically be called internal. This is information that, like your financial statements, your tax statements, your QuickBooks accounting pages, spreadsheets, however you do your accounting. It's not necessarily critical. It won't be the end of the world if it gets out. However, nobody else needs to know your business. So that's information that internally you need for certain people to get access to handle the finances, but the rest of the world doesn't need to know about it. So we're going to control the access to that information, but not necessarily have to have it super confidential, encrypted, things like that. And then the fourth pile is what I call public. Those are copies of your product pictures and other things, blog posts, Facebook posts, Instagram pictures, things that you're going to put out on your website. Those are for the public's viewing. So obviously those don't need to protect as much because you're going to put them out there for everybody to see anyways. Now, let's talk about how you protect those four categories. The last one I just mentioned, the public, is the easiest. If there is some copyright issues going on, maybe you have an artist that paints paintings and you want to make sure that your paintings don't get stolen by somebody else, but you're going to take pictures of them and put them on your Facebook to promote yourself. Use watermarks, use captions, use metadata in the headers so that that information is shown proof positive to be yours, and you don't have to worry about somebody else downloading the picture and selling it themselves and infringing on your copyrights. Now, the internal data, how you control the access to that is through user accounts and passwords. And what I mean by that is not all data needs to be seen by everybody. Take an example of a dentist office. You go into the dentist and the receptionist at the front desk needs your credit card number so that she can process the bills and you can pay them. She also needs possibly your social security number, definitely your insurance group number if it's not the same. Personally, I'm affiliated with the military, so my insurance number is my social security number. But then you go back in to see the dentist. The dentist needs to pull up your file. He needs to see the x-rays. He needs to see what your last visit was and what he's supposed to be working on next. Where exactly was that cavity that needs to be filled or whatever. Now, inside that software that they have has all this information, but it needs to be compartmentalized. The dentist doesn't need to know your credit card number. Even though he's the owner of that business, he has no need for your credit card information. On the same token, the receptionist does not need to know how bad your medical history is, or how good your medical history is, or what treatments you're currently getting. All they need to know is this is the amount that they need to bill to the insurance, and this is the amount that you need to pay, and here's your credit card number to pay it. So inside of that, they should have separate accounts, and those accounts should lock down what they can see and what they can do. On a cupcake making business working out of the house, if you hire an accounting people to do your taxes for you, they don't need to see your secret recipe. They don't need to know a whole lot of information about what goes on in the kitchen. All they need to know is your revenue and your taxes. By the same token, if you hire a cook to help you make these cupcakes, they don't need to know anything about your financial information. All they need to know is you're paying them X amount of money to do X amount of work, and that's it. So this is something that needs to be compartmentalized down to a need to know, we call it. So then moving on to the next big one, the regulated. That's the easiest one. There are regulations. You need to follow them. The most common thing that I see over and over and over again is most small business owners telling me that they are protected from payment card information, PCI, because they use Square or they use PayPal. Well, those things, specifically with Square, I have seen violations over and over and over again because people don't understand the rules completely. If you use Square for a payment card collection and they have the little scanner and the customer scans the card or the touch pay and the information goes through, Square will cover it. If you take the card from the customer and run it through the scanner yourself, you just had your hands on the card. If you take the card and you go to the back room to scan it because your scanner's back there instead of up in the front, that customer has no idea whether you wrote down their information or not, and whether you're using it to go shopping on Amazon when they're not looking. Unfortunately, in the terms of use of Square, it clearly states that if you put your hands on the card or collect the card number or the CVI number on the back, that you have relieved them of liability if something goes wrong and that data gets compromised. So most small business owners out there that think that they have no worries with payment cards because they are affiliated with Square are doing things that could completely invalidate Square's liability, which means if that data is stolen and somebody comes back to you, you're going to be 100% liable for damages, 100% liable for identity theft. You could be sued in court. There's all kinds of things, and there's a standard of expectation of what you have to do if a data breach does occur that'll cost you thousands of dollars per client. So if you've got 1,000 clients, you're looking at a couple $100,000, possibly even up to $500,000 for the average business owner from a data breach. All because you didn't realize that you couldn't put your hands on the card. And if you think about this, big businesses do this all the time. You just don't really notice it. You've never seen a cashier at Walmart come out from behind the cash register around to your side to help somebody scan their card. That scanner's on your side of the little post-COVID plexiglass wall, and you're the only one who touches it. They can't touch it. As a small business owner, you need to start embracing that same type of process and make sure that you are hands off with these card numbers. If you're running an online business and somebody wants to call you up and say, oh, I can't get my website to work right, can you just take my card number over the phone? No. If you do that, you're going to be liable for payment card information breaches, and you do not want that to happen. Okay, the last category we're talking about, which is also confidential, but not regulated, is a little bit more of a gray area. That is what I call it doing a risk assessment. You need to look at that data and say, what is the risk of this getting out? If this is going to close down your business, then it may be worth spending a couple of $100 on an external hard drive or paying for some cloud storage to have backups of this data and encrypt it on an encrypted drive so that if the drive does come into the possession of somebody else, they can't even read it. It's all just gobbledygook. So this is data you need to protect, but you need to look at the risk versus the reward to decide how much it's worth to you on how much you want to spend to make sure that that data stays protected. And the reason why I said to categorize into 4 categories is because if you're paying for external storage that's encrypted or cloud storage that's encrypted to make sure that your data is safe, you don't need to pay to have the 20,000 pictures that you have of your products that you sell being encrypted, because those pictures are more for public side, so you don't have to have the expense of just saying, oh, encrypt everything. So being logical and kind of cost effective, you want to separate your data into those categories so that you only have to apply the measures to each category that it's worth. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions is that your data is not that valuable. Hopefully, I have proven to you that that is not the case. Data is very valuable, to the tune of the richest guy in the world right now is Facebook, and he's made a fortune by selling information and doing advertising off of your data. Google's another one. They're a huge company, billions and billions of dollars a year, by providing free services, free maps, free search engines, things like free emails. And why do they do that? Because they have a method to collect your data. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes you can be sitting and having a conversation, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I should look that up because I'm not really sure. And then you open up Google and go to the search, and it's like pre-populated for you because they knew what you were talking about. Well, that's actually the case because they got your phone and they know everything that you're saying because the microphone's on, and they know everything that you were just emailing back and forth or texting back and forth with somebody else about because they can read your emails and your texts. They're collecting all this information, so they knew you were just talking with your mom about cat litter. So the next time you go to Google something, they're saying, hey, you're going to be looking for cat litter. And then, oh, by the way, on the back end, they're also going to cat litter companies like Purina or somebody and going, hey, we got somebody who's looking for cat litter right now. I will sell you this ad. And you can pop an ad up on their phone so that while they're on the way to the store, they get a coupon or an advertisement for Petco to go to buy cat litter. It's all a big ecosystem, and it thrives off of data. And unfortunately, there are bad actors out there. There are hackers out there that you see all the time. Government's getting hacked. The pipeline got hacked. The meat processing plants getting hacked. Last week, there was a TV station, syndicated TV stations, so there was a dozen or so of them across the country that got taken down. Why did they get taken down? Because of ransomware. What was in it for them? They could steal all the contact information for all the people that have affiliated with that TV station. They have a huge following, people subscribing to them. So those types of information is very valuable. And that's what these guys are after. Now, how does that affect you as a small business or as an entrepreneur, or maybe even just as a concerned citizen sitting in your house going, whoa, what about me? Okay, it's easy. Not all of these huge companies that are hacking for a living, not all of those hackers are targeting huge corporations, and they're backed by the governments of some other countries, say Russia or China. Some of these guys are just starting out. They're small time. So how do they make a name for themselves? By hacking other small time entrepreneurs and getting that data and building a name for themselves, selling a couple of things here and there. Yes, it's not as big a ticket. If I hack Susie's Cupcakes and get 1,000 clients and I can make $2,000, is not as big as hacking the Department of Defense and getting 50 million personnel records and being able to sell that for millions and millions of dollars. However, if I'm a new guy starting out, that's how I make a name for myself. That's how I get a couple of bucks so that I can buy better computer, better software, and start hacking the big guys. So right now, the last year's statistics, 77% of the hackings were aimed at small businesses. That is a huge number. 3/4 of the hacking and data loss going on right now around the world is aimed at small businesses. You need to protect yourself. People like me are professionals and know how to do this. I can help you create a plan. I can help you figure out what data you have that needs to be protected and the best way to protect it. And I would love to help you. Give me a call, send me an email, and let's see what we can do. Thank you.